Hello, everyone. How are you? I hope you are well. Today's recipe is incredibly delicious, savory, and also very traditional. It is a popular dish loved by millions because the sauce it contains is very tasty. We cover it with bread, and the bread soaked in this sauce becomes very delicious. I will also share with you a dough from which we can make two types of bread. Follow along to see all the details. Look at the meat, how tender and melting it is, and the vegetables retain their shape, are very delicious and unique. So, follow the method to see all the details. We start by putting a little oil in a pot on the stove, then add two large chopped onions like this. Stir the onions until their texture changes and they wilt. After the onions wilt and reach this consistency, I add 2 large tablespoons of tomato paste. Stir. Then add a teaspoon of crushed garlic and stir a little, being careful not to burn the garlic. Just stir until the aroma appears. Then I start adding the meat spices, which give it a special flavor. I will share the spice mix in an upcoming video. Now stir the meat spices, which is 1 large tablespoon. Then add the meat. I have 2 kilograms of meat here, but you can use any amount you prefer. I used bone-in meat, but if you want to use boneless meat, that's optional. I preferred to use bone-in meat to enhance the flavor of the sauce, but as I said, you can use meat cubes. Stir the meat and let it saute a bit to absorb all the spice flavors with the sauce. Then add a little water and a large tablespoon of salt. Cover the pot and let the meat cook until it is fully done. Meanwhile, we prepare the dough. Here I have 3 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 large tablespoon of yeast, half a teaspoon of baking powder, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and half a cap of white vinegar. I also add 2 tablespoons of oil and 2 large tablespoons of yogurt. Knead it with water until you get a soft dough. The dough should be soft but not sticky to the hands. It shouldn't be hard. It should be soft to make the bread tender after baking. Knead the ingredients until you get a smooth dough. Look at the dough's consistency. It should be like this, soft, but not sticky. Place it in a bowl and cover it until it doubles in size. By this time, the meat is almost cooked, needing only a quarter of an hour to be fully done. Now we start adding the vegetables. I used potatoes and carrots, but you can add peas or any type of vegetable you like. You're not limited to specific types. I only used potatoes and carrots, but it's entirely up to you. Now cover the pot and let it cook for a quarter of an hour. Here is the tagine I use, called hara. It's carved from stone, not made from clay. As you can see, it looks like this after being prepared on the stove. Initially, it looks like stone because it's carved from stone, as I mentioned, not made from clay, like other tagines. But if you don't find this type of stone-carved tagine, you can use regular tagines. However, I prefer using this stone tagine called hara. If you use the clay ones, it's better if they're handmade. As for the non-natural tagines, honestly, I don't recommend them because they're just for show and don't give a distinct flavor. But this type of cookware gives a very special and wonderful flavor to the cooked food, which you can't get with any other cookware. After placing the ingredients, as you can see, I start shaping the dough. I take a third of the dough, roll it out, and place it on the pot or the hera. As you see, rolling it out evenly and covering it from the edges. This is the final shape after placing the dough. Now, brush it with condensed milk. I like using and brushing the dough with condensed milk because it gives a unique color, avoiding egg yolk since some people don't like the smell of eggs. That's why I prefer using condensed milk. But if you want, you can use egg yolk with a few drops of vinegar. Transfer it to the oven, which has been preheated at a high temperature, both top and bottom, until the surface and edges are golden. Meanwhile, I rolled out the remaining dough like this and started baking it on the griddle, making delicious, soft, and unique Arabic bread. Roll it out as you see, leave it aside, and bake it all at once to get puffiness and softness in the bread. Start baking it as you see. Leaving it to form bubbles. Then flip it and bake it again, leaving it to puff up. This dough is very successful and also served alongside the tagine. It's easy, and one dough can be used for the tagine and to make this wonderful bread. After baking the bread and it turns golden, place it in a cloth designed for bread to keep its softness and texture. As you see, cover the bread as soon as it comes off the griddle, cover it, and keep it to serve alongside the tagine. I wanted to share this bread recipe with you because it's very special, delicious, and very soft. This is the tagine after taking it out of the oven. Look at how amazing it looks. Very unique. You can brush it with a little butter or oil after taking it out of the oven to give it a nice shine, but this is optional. You can skip this step. This is the final look of the tagine. Look at how appetizing and unique it is. Look inside. How wonderful it is. The bread is also delicious and wonderful, and the meat is melting and very delicious. As I said, this tagine and the meat in it are very delicious and wonderful, and the bread with it is new and has a very unique texture. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, share the video with your loved ones, and give us your feedback in the comments. See you in another video. Look at how soft and delicious the bread is from the inside, made from the same dough as the tagine.